Yo guys, so the long-awaited Money Heist season 5 came out yesterday, September 3rd, and I spent a good part of my day binging, the episode 1 to episode 5 is like the first part of the series, and then immediately after that I took my time to watch the making of the movie, and afterwards I started talking to all of my friends that had watched it, getting feedback, getting reactions, all and so on and so forth. So I decided I was going to do this video to just talk about my reactions throughout, the entire part 1 of this series. Money Heist is one of my, favorite series of all time. I'm a sucker for series, and I particularly love crime and action movies, and Money Heist gave me every single thing I love to see in a movie. Like, generally the feedback from everybody was that it was intense. Money Heist was intense, like very intense. And I was impressed. Truth is, I was impressed. I'm the kind of person that, I watch movies always looking out for, mistakes. I'm kind of like a movie critic here. And I was looking for something that would make me upset with the movie, and I couldn't find it. Like, I was too impressed. Like, I was expecting a lot, but I was not expecting this much, and they went above and beyond, especially after watching the making of the movie. When I saw the effort that they put, I'm like, nah, this, the wait was worth it. Like, we had to wait like about over a year to watch this series. I'm like, the wait was worth it because they put all of their efforts into production. Every single thing, the shooting scenes, the explosions, I was mind blown. I'm like, what are you guys thinking? Like, how did you think this was possible? How did you pull this off? I was too impressed, and I was too happy. Even the scoring of the movie, like in the episode 1, they started giving us this orchestra vibes, and I loved it because there's a way that it communicates with your emotions and all of that. Even the beginning of episode 2, there was one song about Monday, Tuesday, Friday that I can't even get off my head right now.
I don't care if Monday's blue, Tuesday's gray, and Wednesday too.
If you don't know what scoring is, it's like background music in a film and all of it. They were very particular about each and every part of this movie. So without further ado, let's dive into episode 1. So episode 1 starts, and they were kind enough to do like a recap for us here of what happened in season 4. I think season 4 ended with Sierra discovering Professor's hideout, and then Lisbon made it to the Bank of Spain. So Sierra finds, Professor's hideout. She goes, drills him, and tries to force out the escape plan from him. I'm like, girl, you're wasting your time. Professor is going to lay his life down for this plan, and he's not going to give it to you. I was just like, Sierra, you're wasting your time. Please, just, if you can, you know how they say, if you can't beat them, join them. I was expecting, like, don't even bother thinking that he's just going to hand you the plan. And Sierra is one very tough character. I love that she's a very great actress. She made us buy into her character, and I loved that so much. So in this episode 1, they also introduced Berlin's son to us. Apparently he has a role to play in the heist, although they haven't really exactly made it clear to us what exactly he's going to be doing in this heist. But they just introduced it in bits and pieces. And first of all, I feel like we do not give Berlin enough credit. I just want to say that. Maybe it's because, he's dead in the movie, like he's isn't part of the heist, But I feel like Berlin needs to be given more credit that he's giving, because this heist in particular is his heist. He's the grandmaster. I mean, I was blown away when, it seemed like Berlin actually made his son to go to school, and study, I think, electronic engineering, and also get a post degree in cybersecurity just because of this heist. I'm like, bro, that, like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Nah, I was like, nah, I give it to Berlin. You're the master planner. I also feel like Berlin is crazy. Yeah, the part where he organized, where there was a heist, and then he had to like talk with his son's emotions just to prove to him that, bro, you too, you're a thief. Like, you're also a thief. Like, you're not better than me. Don't you ever call me a cynic again. I liked that. And Tamaya, on the other hand, is still there chasing helicopter and trusts Professor to already lay down, a plan that is going to like just throw them off course and all of that. And he did that, and I thought that, that was very intelligent as usual. I was not too surprised, because I mean, I've seen Professor Woon do more. I think the most mind-blowing escape plan that I had seen in Money Heist was Lisbon's escape. It was very, very it was very, very mind-blowing. That's from season 4 anyway. You know, some people feel like the intelligence of Professor is exaggerated, you know, like he can't, you know, he can't be that wise in real life and all of that. But I mean, first of all, it's a movie and it can be possible. Some people are genius, you know, just like Prison Break, for instance. Same thing with Michael Scofield. They're like, nah, nobody can be this smart and all of that. It's a movie, you know. At this point also, Tamayo is also, you know, like sending in the military. Now the gang is aware that, okay, Professor is no more, you know, Sierra has found him, and they are confused. They feel so helpless because Professor is like, he's like, they are mostly like puppets, and Professor just tells them, oh, this is what you have to do, this is how to be done. And for the first time they felt so alone because they could not get help from the Professor, and I could see the confusion, the frustration, everything on their faces. I'm like, bro, how are these people expected to survive right now? And then we go into episode 2, which is where things got very intense. Like, episode 2 was so intense. Everybody kept on saying the same thing. Episode 2 alone, I had to pause the movie like 4 or 5 times because I needed a breather. I needed to calm down. I'm like, what's going on? Why so many things are happening at the same time? There is no Professor in view. The military is trying to enter, and it's not just any set of soldiers. Like the ones that they are not okay, they are not stable. Like people that are out for blood, basically. I'm like, you want to kill them, obviously they want to kill them, but I'm like, this is not even fair. It's not even a fair fight anymore. And then they are in there, you know, trying to come up with a solution and all of that. At that point, I did not know what to expect at all. I could not see the, you know how, you know, you can predict movies sometimes. That's what I really loved about Money. It wasn't predictable. We couldn't tell what was going to happen at any given point in time. So I was just like, okay, what are they going to do now? What is going to happen now? When the head of the military said it's going to be a massacre, I'm like, somebody's going to die today. Like, somebody's going to die today. I was already having the chills. I was already feeling so, I was so afraid. For me, a great movie is the type where you can feel every single emotion. Like, you forget that it's a movie. You can feel fear, you can feel love, you can feel sadness, you can feel pain. I love when I'm having all those kind of, you know, emotions in a movie, and this is what Money Heist gave to me. When they were walking out of the bank to go and renegotiate, I did not even know what they were going to say. Sha got there, did the renegotiations. I'm like, oh, okay, at least now they can buy a little time. They gave them 4 minutes. And, you know, I feel like one of the things that added more tension or more pressure to the whole to the events that were happening is the time constraints. We knew that this people were running out of time. There is no time. Like, you cannot afford to waste a second. So this one is going in with the rest of the gang, and they're saying, bring out Gandia, and and the boys have already started a fight. They're trying to kill Gandia. I'm like, wait, you people should wait, don't kill him. You know, you guys should wait, don't kill him. And there's the fight with Gandia, and I'm like, are they going to kill Gandia? Because I felt like Gandia deserved to die. But I mean, at that point in time, as much as I wanted Gandia to die, we could not afford, you know, to kill Gandia. I was basically on the edge of my seat throughout this movie. So we've not even finished sorting out Gandia's matter, and there is Aturu.
Hit the ground, you fucking terrorist!
And there's Aturu. Aturu. Aturu has been a, permit me to say, pain in the ass since season 1, and he's definitely everybody's most hated character. Aturu pisses everybody off. Like, I'm like, who is this person? Can they get rid of you already? Why are you still alive? Why is Aturu here? Like, why is he still alive? Why haven't you put a bullet in his head since? You know, but I get why, you know, they kept him for the commotion, of course. I'm like, I have never felt so much hatred for anybody in a movie. Yeah, there are a few movie characters that I never liked. Theodore Bagwell, if you know T-Bag from Prison Break, here, T-Bag was so annoying. Then there is Daniel Snell from Ozarks, if you watch the Ozarks. I mean, very annoying. But this Aturu was so annoying. His annoyance in person. I tweeted something, I'm like, there's principalities, there's power, there's, you know, wickedness in high places or whatever, and then there's Aturu. Like, he's a special kind of, you know, demon. Arturo just carried gun that is bigger than him, and then he starts shooting at everybody. I'm like, are you even looking at what you're doing? He just starts shooting, and then he ends up injuring people in the process. I'm like, I was so pissed. I'm like, find Arturo, kill him. Find Arturo, kill him. Like, do not spare his life. Do not spare, because he's been getting on everyone's last nerve. Go back and forth. They did not have access to the ammunition, you know. I was just like, what's going on now? These people are just wasting unnecessary ammunition, and like, somebody please intervene. And there came Monica. Arturo! I was so happy, first of all, with the person that had to shoot Arturo. I was happy with the person that had to shoot. I just thank God for Monica at that point, and I thank God that she did not hold back, even though she had regrets later and all that. I'm like, sis, thank you. You know, at that point when she shot him, I have never felt so happy for somebody's death before. I was so glad. I was like, yes, 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 thank you, Monica. You know, and then all of a sudden they're like trying to bring Arturo back to life. I'm like, you should leave him, let him die, allow Arturo to die, allow him to die. At this point, I feel like they were trying to be good, you know, so it's not going to be like, oh, they are murderers and all of that. I'm like, it's just unfortunate, like it's just a casualty, you know. It's quite unfortunate that he had to die, but please, can we just move on and forget about this Arturo? While all of this is going on, Professor is still captured, and then there's Marcel and Benjamin coming into the stormwater tank where that was Professor's hideout. I'm like, thank God, at least they're coming to rescue Professor. And just for, you know, Professor, you know, tried to outsmart Sierra, but Sierra is smart. Sierra is very smart. She's not just smart, she's also strong. Because I'm like, woman, you're quarter to give birth here. I mean, you should be going in labor any moment from now. How do you have so much strength to be walking about and doing all of these gymnastics that you're doing? But I really appreciate her strength, her tenacity. I give it to Sierra. She pulled it off. She pulled off her character, and she did an amazing job. Like, how did Sierra manage to capture 3 grown men like that? I mean, I was impressed. And then going into episode 3, I've already expressed how I feel about Arturo coming back to life. I did not like it one bit, but I guess that okay, he's the father of her child and she was feeling emotional and blah 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 blah. I get all of that part. Let me not act like I'm not human. And then when Tamayo had the press conference where he betrayed Sierra, I was so happy. Like, I was so glad to see the look on her face. Like, she was like, nah, the look on her face was priceless. Then in the midst of all of that, Sierra's water breaks. I'm like, yes, thank you, Jesus. Yes. No. Yes. You think that Sierra's water breaking is enough to, you know, snap her out of it. I'm like, okay, you guys come and help me and all of that. No, this woman was still forming in hard girl. Like, can you just give up already? I was short of words. I'm like, who is this woman? If not that, you know, her birth later had like complications and all of that, I'm sure she was ready to give birth by herself, right in front of the professor and the other 2 tied up. Like, she was ready to do that. But I don't know that it's a movie, so thank God you know, that she had complications with her childbirth. If not, she would have done it by herself. But in the midst of all of this chaos, yeah, something that happened in that episode 3 was that Tokyo and Rio reconciled, and I was so happy to see them reconcile and see them, you know, like happy with each other again. Because I'm like, you people, do you know that you're the reason why we are here in the first place? I mean, Rio was initially the reason why it was part of the reason why they decided to do the second heist, you know, to rescue Rio. And you now come inside this place and you now want to start fighting. Why? So I was happy to see that. Another very intense point was the military invasions. Like, it was so scary when they were going in, when, you know, they now started chanting like war, they were making like war chants, they're not beating their chest. I'm like, hey, like, that part was so intense. But the only relief was that, oh, finally, at least Professor, you know, is back in charge. I was like, okay, Professor is here, so we can calm down a bit. But that still didn't, you know, change much and all of that. Episode 4 starts off with an explosion, and I'm like, oh bro. like, what's going on? Starts off with an explosion, and I'm like, oh my god, this cannot be happening. And there's a Helsinki. I'm like, bro, please, Helsinki should not die. Helsinki should not die. And immediately I just saw him cough. I'm like, ah, thank you, Lord. Nobody's going to die in this season. Nobody is dying yet. Little did I know. Another thing that really, you know, pissed me off at that point was Gandia. Like, I saw Gandia among the soldiers. I'm like, what is Gandia doing here? Like, this guy, does he have like 9 lives or what? Why is Gandia still walking? They should have killed him when they wanted to. Because I'm like, this man never stops. Like, he just never stops. Why? As if that was not even enough, the bomb squad, you know, is about to enter from like the main entrance and all that. And I thank God for Lisbon at that point in time, you know. I thank God for Lisbon's leadership. I thank God that Lisbon was, you know, part of, like, she was inside the Bank of Spain, because I feel like she was also very helpful, you know, in solving all of these problems that were coming up. And all of them kind of like respected Lisbon. I don't know, maybe because she's Professor's babe, but they gave her the respect that they were not able to give every other leader. When Lisbon told the professor that, oh, we have something against Tamayo, and when she told him what he had done, he was like, you're the sexiest woman on the planet, but I love you for your brains. I'm like, oh.
You're the sexiest woman in the world, but I love you for your brains.
Right. Yeah, I'm a little busy right now, so let's save the flirting for later.
Like, in the middle of the heist, people are still playing romance. And I love how they kind of like put a touch of love and like a dash of romance when all of these things were going on. Apparently it was intentional, yeah. You see, between Professor and Lisbon, you know, when Lisbon came in at first, when she was having a bath, and then she was talking to Tokyo, and she said that she feels like, you know, all of this, like the act to like rescue her and all of it, she feels like it's kind of romantic. I was like, I feel you because Professor actually went above and beyond to rescue her, and there's no way you'll still not be feeling loved, even though you may not really like the situation where you are. You know that it's the effort for me. Yeah, there was that. And then there was Denver and Monica, you know, when he was bleeding and she was like, sweetie, please come up, sweetie, please. I'm like, oh, this one's still doing sweetie, please.
Sweetie. Danny, sweetie, you need to come back here.
I'm fine, okay?
I'm like, oh, yeah, she actually really cared about him. And there's Palema and Helsinki, when he was like, please don't sleep, and he's like, I'm awake. I'm like, it's nice. Yeah, so I really loved how they rendered Tamayo powerless all of a sudden. I liked it. He needed to take a break. And then in the middle of all of this, there's Monica, who I'm very, very concerned about now. You know, her mind is playing games with her. She's seen what's his name, Arturo. She's seeing Arturo, and I'm like, this person, let her not mistakenly go and shoot somebody that is not, or let her not start acting weird, and you know, she has to pay for it or something like that. I'm like, what's going on? This person needs help. I felt so bad for her, you know, when she started having all of those mind disturbances. And now the soldiers are in, and they finally rescue Helsinki, and they were able to surround the soldiers. I was impressed. I was like, oh, thank God. I kind of felt a relief. But I immediately went from bravo to what the hell? Like, what just happened right now? Because the soldiers are surrounded and they're still negotiating with them. I'm like, when will these people ever learn that we do not negotiate with terrorists? And in this case, the soldiers are the terrorists. Like, when will you ever learn? You saw Gandia there. You know that the last time you tried to negotiate with Gandia, Nairobi died. And you're actually, you know, you're actually counting 10. Why are you counting 10? Why are you counting to 10? I expected 10, 9, 8, 7, and they start shooting. Like, don't even give them that much space to start coming up with a plan or something. And that's how everything scattered. I was like, I was very disappointed in it. I'm like, when you learn? Why are you trying to be so good? You're not good. At this point, you don't have to be good. That's why I like Tokyo. I mean, Tokyo is quite irrational. There are times that we've seen the bad side of that, like the bad side effect, but there are times that it has actually paid, because Tokyo doesn't think. Like, Tokyo is going to act, like she reacts. She doesn't take her time. She doesn't give space for nonsense. And that's why I really, really, you know, liked Tokyo. And then there's episode 5 that is full of so much tension again. The gang is divided. Tokyo, Denver, Manila, they are stuck somewhere, and the rest of them, they are trying to like break in to come and rescue them. I'm like, I feel like they should have put like a disclaimer, like. And in the midst of all of that, I loved when, you know, Tokyo was messing with Gandia's head. Every single thing she said, she spoke the truth. And I love that it got to Gandhi. I knew it was going to get to him. I knew he was going to react, and I love that he painted him like he entered. I really, really, you know, like to watch Gandhi suffer. Yes. And when, you know, he got angry, threw a grenade, and she threw it back. That's typical back to sender. You say the weapons will be formed, but they will not prosper. When they say back to sender, that's what they mean by back to sender. So immediately, he, you know, he threw the grenade, she threw it back to him. I'm like, yes, that's my girl. That is my girl. And then in the midst of all of this as well, there is now the naming of the baby, like the naming ceremony that they did. You know, that kind of looked to me like they named the baby Victoria, and I felt like that was sweet, and that kind of looked to me like a reconciliation. I don't know if it's a reconciliation. Well, Sierra had to do what she had to do, so if it's a reconciliation, it's fine. And then in the Bank of Spain, when it looks like, oh, they kind of like have an upper hand now, there is now the sniper unit outside, so they have to bother about this one's inside, and there's still the sniper unit. Like, it was not a fair fight at all. And then the sniper unit shoots Tokyo, and at that point I'm like, hey, what? They didn't just shoot her. I thought, oh, they were just going to shoot her, was because a lot of people had gotten a lot of bullet shots and bullet wounds here throughout this movie. I'm like, okay, what's going on? They shoot her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at that point, I'm like, bro, I'm like, hey, like, ha, hey, I'm like, what? Like, what just happened? What did I just watch? I could not believe it, that it was my Tokyo that they would do like that. I'm like, how are you gonna do Tokyo like this? Like, why? I'm like, what just happened? And at that point, it now dawned on me that wait, it's like Tokyo is going to die. But I was still kind of like having benefit of doubt, because like, nah, first of all, it's Tokyo now, they won't dare. Like, when I was watching the BTS and the making of the movie, they were like, they intentionally put that part because they put all of those tweets because they didn't want her to like die immediately. They were like, that the expression that I had was what exactly they wanted to have, like, nah, they won't dare, nah, they won't dare do it. And like, oh my god, are they doing it? Are they actually doing it? Are they actually killing Tokyo? You know. And then I started to feel some type of way about this whole Tokyo thing. I'm like, nah, I wanted to have a benefit of doubt. I'm like, nah, she's not going to die. Nah, she's not going to die. They're going to fix her wound, they're going to take care of her, I don't know. And then when they're like, and when there's the, you know, that place that they jump down from, like, she can't jump. I'm like, can they just throw her down? Rio, what are you still doing? You have been digging, open this thing and drag her. I'm like, somebody come and rescue Tokyo. Like, please. And in that moment, it occurs to me that wait. Is this why they've been showing us her history from the beginning of it? Because, you know, they took us, you know, down memory lane, took us, you know, through Tokyo's through all of Tokyo's journey to how she got there, her first love, and then how she met Rio. And when they were showing all of those things, I didn't grab, like, I did not understand it until that moment where she died. I'm like, wow.
We think that when the viewer gets to this point, they'll begin to have the feeling that on one hand they wouldn't dare, but on the other we're saying we're going in that direction.
We want Tokyo's death to hurt you. So we're going to tell you about Tokyo's life, her past, Tokyo's love, Tokyo's pain, and who she really is on the episode We Kill Her.
Wow. Oh, so this was your plan all along. I'm like, I was so hurt. But when Nairobi died, I cried like a baby. Like, I wept. But when Tokyo died, I did not have the tears. Have you ever been in shock? Like, I was just shaking because I could not believe it. the same way, exact same way Professor felt. You know how Professor felt so paralyzed, like he could not believe what had just happened. That's how I felt. Like I was so weak. I sat in my chair. I'm like, ha, 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 and I said, sending like an exclamation to all of my friends. I'm like, what? Nah. Like, yo, did they really, like? And then she didn't just die, because if she died and then if they shot her, I felt like, oh, there was still going to be hope. She had to die that kind of death. But I'm happy that Gandia didn't make it. Gandia definitely did not make it. I'm so glad that Gandia didn't get the chance to shoot her, because it was Gandia that shot her as well. Nah, I would have been pissed off, you know. So before she died, she detonated like the grenades that were on her chest, and I can only imagine the death. It was painful. Nah, I was hurt. I was actually hurt. By the way, is it just me, or there are two things that I found confusing anyway? First of all, I don't know if it's just in my head, or there was a part in season 1 where Berlin said something about him not being able to have kids, the time when he was liking that hostage girl. Yeah, I don't know if that happened, because I'm like, oh, I thought they said this and now Berlin has a son. Or I don't know if that ever happened. It's possible that I'm wrong, because I didn't have the time to go back to season 1 and start confirming. And then I feel like they kind of twisted Tokyo's story, because they had given us a backstory of Tokyo before in the earlier seasons, and now they're coming to tell us, oh, this is what I felt like they kind of, in a way, tampered. Didn't they show us how she met Rio before? And they kind of, like, in a way, tampered with it a little bit. So, but that was fine. That was okay. Overall, it was a great movie, and you know what to expect from part 2. Now we have to wait till December 3rd. I think that from part 2, I'm expecting Sierra to join forces with the gang. I don't know what she's up to. You know, there was a part when we were showing her like in the bathroom. She has a lot going on. I don't know what that is, but I hope it's a good thing. I hope that, you know, Sierra joins forces with the gang. Of course, now that she doesn't have any place. On another hand, I'm feeling like, this Sierra, let her not run away and abandon this baby. This one that she has named the baby Victoria, I feel like, oh, she's going to survive. Blah, blah. Like, let her not just run away and leave Professor with a baby to take care of. And from part 2, I do not want any other person to die. If anybody should die, it should be Helsinki. Since he's already like wounded, but I don't want any new deaths, and I really hope he doesn't die as well. I don't want any new deaths from part 2. And I can't even guess what the escape plan is going to be. Are they going to, like, how are they going to take out the gold eventually? And are they going to, like, walk out as heroes, like they just stroll out of the bank, or they are going to find an escape route or something? I don't know, and I cannot wait. But I'm going to wait, because I feel like it is worth the wait. Yes, I was too invested in the movie to see a lot of flops. And if you I've been telling everybody, like, after watching episode 1 to 5, just go and watch the making. It's called Money Heist from Tokyo to Berlin. Yeah, you also see it on Netflix. Like, you will appreciate their art. Like, there was a time where, you know, there were some scenes. I think it was the scene with Arturo and that fire gun that was blasting. Yeah, they spent 3 weeks on that particular scene, and there is a particular scene that is just one scene, but they spent like thousands of dollars to make like those gold artifacts and all of that you see. They spent a lot of money. Like, they were too detailed. The explosions, they looked so real. And after watching it, I just had to appreciate the movie even more. I give them all the credit that, you know, that they deserve. Even scripture says give honor to honor is due. So yeah, that's how I felt about it. And we've come to the end of this review, this commentary, whatever it is. I hope you liked it. I hope I spoke your mind, so I hope you felt the same way. If you felt differently concerning different situations, just let me know in the comment section. I forgot to introduce myself because I was so excited. My name is Anna. I am many things to different people in various spaces, but most importantly, all day, every day, I am a child of God. Yes, I usually do like other things like preaching and stuff on this channel, but today I decided to talk about my hobbies. Yeah, I like to watch movies a lot. And if you feel like there is any like movie or series that can, you know, compete with Money Heist, please, I'm open for recommendations. Recommend them. Let me go and do the Lord's work. Yes, bye.